Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Maddie. So today I'm going to be talking about my most requested topic, and that is why I had an amputation / what led up to me having the amputation. So for almost my entire life, I had actually suffered from a rare disease called chronic osteomyelitis. Now, a ton of you have never heard of this before, so I'm going to kind of explain what it is and why it affected me personally so bad. So I'm going to read you guys what comes up when you look the disease up, and then I'm going to kind of explain from my perspective how it affected me, just because everybody is different and I might have had a different experience with the disease than somebody else might have had. If that makes sense. So chronic osteomyelitis represents a progressive inflammatory process caused by pathogens resulting in bone destruction. So chronic osteomyelitis represents a progressive inflammatory process caused by pathogens resulting in bone destruction. So basically what happens is you have your bone and it cracks, and fibers that are actually infections and bacteria can get into there and start attacking your body. So for me, I had it in both of my feet, and it was just kind of eating the bones, eating away my tissue, making me very, very ill, and we just couldn't get rid of it. Well, eventually, after many debridements and antibiotics, they got rid of it in my left side, and it just stayed in my right side, would not go away. So long story short, I was in and out of the hospital my entire life for this, and it was super, super exhausting. One of my doctors had suggested that I actually had an amputation from the knee below. And I'm not going to swear on here, but I think we all know what I had said. Basically, I told her, heck no, I wasn't doing it, and I was super upset all the time. It was making me super sick, and I just couldn't deal with it anymore. I couldn't walk for most of my life. I was in and out of the hospital using a wheelchair, crutches, walker, anything and everything just to keep my body stable enough to keep going every single day. So a lot of people had asked me why the amputation was put off for so long and why I didn't get it when I was younger. And if you had seen my videos, you would know that I did not get my entire leg amputated. I just got my 4th metatarsal, which is my 4th toe and the complete bone underneath it. I previously had part of my 5th metatarsal amputated, but that was so long ago that did not affect me at all. So the reason for having this put off for so long was I needed a new doctor. So I went and I did that. I finally went and got a second opinion, and I told him from the get-go I was not interested in getting any sort of amputation, so we agreed to not speak about it at all and then just kind of go with the flow. If he thought something needed to be done to put off any flare-ups, then we did it, but everything was just temporary and nothing was really going anywhere, and I feel like that's what was the most frustrating thing for me, was that I knew that it was temporary and I just wanted this gone forever. I was so sick of not being able to walk. I was so sick of being sick all the time. It was just mentally exhausting. Tea break brought to you by me. So basically I had just had enough of this. I was having mental breakdowns every time I was going to the doctors, and my doctor got really serious with me, and he was like, look, I know that this is something you never wanted to talk about, but if you chose to get any sort of amputation to get rid of this, you wouldn't have to amputate your entire leg, just your 4th toe and metatarsal. And I just kind of looked at him for a second, and I was like, are you sure? Like, is this gonna work? I was very, very uneasy about it for the fact of somebody else had told me I had to get my entire leg amputated. I was literally terrified. I was shaking in my boots. Couldn't even do it. So I had told him that I had to go home and think about it because I was just low-key not having it, but at the same time I was thinking to myself, this could change my entire life. So I had went back to my next appointment. Of course, I had a flare-up, I was getting sick, I couldn't walk. All of my symptoms were just coming back, and I looked at him and I said, all right, let's do it. And he was kind of shocked that I said that, for the fact of I was so adamant my entire life of no amputation, like no matter what it is. So we scheduled the amputation, and I kept thinking in the back of my head, I was gonna like dip out. I was like, I scheduled this, but I kind of don't want to get it. I was debating with myself whether or not I was actually going to go through with this, even though it was on the schedule, because I was either gonna go and get it done, or last minute I was gonna say, hey, I'm not doing this at all. So I had the surgery scheduled out for about a month and a half, And around a week before I was supposed to go into the hospital, I was having a really hard time walking to the point where I was limping around my own home and couldn't leave my bed, which was super uncomfortable. My boyfriend had told me maybe I should take you to the hospital and see what's going on, and I was like, no, I'm getting my amputation soon. I just cannot do this right now. I just wanted to be mentally prepared before I actually just jumped in and did it, because I knew if I went to the hospital they weren't letting me go home, which ended up being the case because I did go to the hospital. And the doctor basically told me, well, to get rid of the problem, we have to get rid of the problem, meaning do my amputation either the next morning or as soon as they could. So I ended up getting admitted to the hospital, and I was kind of nervous because with the virus and the pandemic going on right now, nobody can be there with you, and I knew that I was gonna have to completely go through this alone, and that was always my biggest fear, was going through this alone. I was admitted to the hospital shortly after my little ER visit, and they said that I had to get this done as soon as possible. So I sucked it up and I was like, okay, we're getting this amputation. Wasn't prepared, but we're gonna do it. So they kept kind of putting it off for a couple days just because it was an emergency, but they had other surgeries scheduled, and I had my specific doctor, and I was like, nobody else is doing this. I don't know you guys, I don't trust you, whatever. So I get a phone call while I'm in the hospital bed, and it was my surgeon, and he told me that he was not feeling too well and was not going to be able to do my surgery. So I had two options. Either let his partner do it or wait until he wasn't sick. And I told him I needed a second to think. And I was thinking to myself, if I don't let somebody else do this, they're not going to let me go home until I get this surgery done, because I was just so sick. I couldn't even eat, I couldn't walk. I was literally so sick, thinking that I was going to go home and wait for this amputation. So I decided to let his partner do it because I did not want to sit there another day. I just wanted to get it done and over with, but I was still super scared because I was there all by myself. My family couldn't be there, I couldn't have my boyfriend there, my friends, nobody. So it was finally time for my amputation, and I feel like it didn't settle in my little brain up here what was actually going on until about 5 minutes before I was going to the operating room. I was so terrified. Like, playing back in my head now what was actually going on, I had the biggest panic attack of my life, and I had two nurses. One of them was looking at me like, I don't know what to do, like, I don't know how to help this girl. And the other one, she kind of calmed me down, made me feel a little bit better, because I was feeling super, super uneasy about the situation. But you know what? Had to do what I had to do. So basically, I remember going back into the operating room, and I was just kind of like, look, I'm gonna be honest with all of you in here. It's taken a lot for me to let you guys operate on me, because I don't know you, I just met you yesterday, and I'm having you do an amputation on me. I was seriously so terrified. But long story super short, I got the amputation, I woke up, I wasn't in any more pain, which they were super surprised about, but I literally was kind of being a little bit of a smart aleck, and I said, how is it supposed to hurt if it's not there anymore? Which, you know, it could have hurt around it, but I literally was just not in pain anymore, and I felt so much relief, and I felt so much better, and it was probably like one of the greatest feelings of my entire life. I had my phone, and I pulled just a couple of questions from my TikTok comments that you guys really wanted me to touch on. So a lot of people had asked if it was my entire foot or just my toe, which I kind of already went over that. It was just my toe in the 4th metatarsal. So like, if I always tell people, if this was my foot, like, this is what's gone and underneath it, and everybody thinks it's so funny that I do that, but that's just my thing. The second most asked question was, did I keep it? No, I did not. If I could have, I would have, but they have to send it to pathology and do all their stuff to it, you know, and you're just not allowed. It's kind of a hazard. And then my last question that I had on here, because I think I kind of went over everything, was how long did I have to stay in the hospital for this? So originally when it was scheduled, it was supposed to be an outpatient, and that had surprised me. But what I didn't know when I first went to the emergency room was that I actually had MRSA too, because it got super bad. And so they wanted to monitor me to make sure that they got all of it out and that I didn't have any types of diseases or infections. I was super shocked to find that out because nobody told me, and here I was just like chilling, you know. What you gonna do about it? So I hope I answered all of your guys' questions. If not, let me know below what else you wanted to know, because there were so many comments and I just tried to kind of pick the most popular questions and then answered some of the questions while I was explaining to you guys about everything. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I hope I'll see you next time.